This video is about slope-intercept form from a graph using the equation y equals mx plus b. Slope-intercept form gives us the equation for a linear equation on a graph. Linear means line. Slope-intercept form uses this formula, y equals mx plus b. The m refers to slope, just like it did in our previous equation for slope. We take slope from that formula. So m equals rise over run is what we're going to use for this video. Y equals mx plus b, when we're looking at the b, that refers to the y-intercept. That's why the formula is called slope-intercept form. We're using slope and the y-intercept, or the b, to find out the equation of a line. And then when we use this formula, we just keep y and x the way it is if we're just looking for an equation of a line. Steps to write an equation using y equals mx plus b. So I like to start out by finding the b. The reason why is that typically the b is a good point to use for one of our slope points. So I'm going to go ahead and put a point where it crosses the y-axis. Remember, the y-axis is right here, like the word yo-yo. It's going up and down. So where it crosses the y-axis, this line crosses at -3. So our b is going to be -3. And then I'm going to need another point for my to figure out my slope. There's not really a good point along any of here until I get to the very edges of the graph, and that's okay. We can use the edges. You just want to make sure you're looking out for those pretty points where it goes through the crosshairs, whatever your teacher uses. So then I'm going to go ahead and find the rise over the run. So I'm going to draw a triangle, a right triangle, that goes up and to the right, or down and to the right. You want to go up or down first. So it goes up 1, that's the rise. And then the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope is going to be 1/5. And then my third step is to put the m and the b into the formula y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to write y equals, I plug in my m, which is 1/5, x, and then my b is -3, so I'm going to write -3. Number 1. So first off, I'm going to figure out where it crosses the y-axis. Remember, the y-axis goes up and down. So it's going to cross at -1. That's going to be my b. My m is, I need to figure out my slope. So I need another point for slope. I would probably just use this one here, but there are a couple of points on this line that would be good, such as right here, right here, right here. They're all going to get you the right answer. Then I'm going to figure out the rise over the run. Remember that m equals rise over run. The rise here is 1, and then the run is 2. And if I needed to reduce it, I could here, but I don't need to reduce it anymore. 1/2 is as reduced as it needs to be. So remember, the equation I'm using is y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug in, for my m, I'm going to plug in 1/2 x, and then my b is -1, so I'm going to write -1. So number 2. So looking at where it crosses the y-axis, it crosses right at 0, so my b is going to be 0. Then I'm going to find another point so I can find the slope. I'm going to go ahead and use this one here. And then for this one, I'm going to draw my right triangle, but I'm going to go down and to the right. I always go up and down first. But if I go down first, that means that my slope is going to be negative. So I know it's going to be a negative number, and it's going down 2, so it's -2 over the run, which is 1. And if I divide -2 by 1, it's going to equal -2, because anything divided by 1 is just the number. So then I'm going to put in my equation y equals mx plus b. Y equals, my m is -2x, and then my b is 0. So I could write +0, but that's not what you're going to see on test. What you're going to see is y equals -2x, because if we add 0 to anything, it doesn't change the value. So this would be the correct answer in this case. We don't want to add the 0 where we don't need it. Number 3. So first off, I'm looking for my b where it crosses the y-axis, or the y-intercept as it's called. So my b is going to be at 1. My m, I'm going to pick another point. It looks like it goes through a whole bunch of points here, but I'll just go ahead and use this one here. And remember that m is rise over run. If I draw my right triangle up and to the right, it goes up 1 and to the right 1, which can be reduced. 1 divided by 1 gets me 1. So then remember my equation that I'm using is y equals mx plus b. So then when I plug this in, y equals, my m is 1, x plus 1. But remember, this is another one of those cases where I actually don't need to write anything for 1 because anything multiplied by 1 is the same value. So I'm just going to write y equals x plus 1. This isn't technically wrong, but you're not going to see it on tests. This is what you're going to see. So get used to seeing this. Go ahead and write this. If you have 1 for your slope, just write it as an x. This video was about slope-intercept form from a graph. I hope this video helped you understand it better. However, keep in mind that you don't learn math by watching a video about it, you learn it by doing it. So go ahead and go out and do it, and good luck.